Greetings, my name is Luke Fedlam, and I'm the founder and president of Anomaly Sports Group.
Hi, and I'm Courtney Altemus. I'm the founder and CEO of TeamAltemus.
So Courtney and I have known each other for a couple of years now, and we really bonded over the idea of the work that we do around educating and protecting athletes at all levels. When we met through, the Black Student Athlete Summit at the University of Texas and doing work with the NCAA and their elite symposium, we knew that we really connected for a reason. And that's because we really care about just independently and objectively educating student athletes and professional athletes. And so we came together to really focus on how best we can serve this industry at a time that's facing so much change.
Absolutely. And, we actually came together. We started each of our companies well before NIL. So really the foundation is educating to help student athletes. And that came from the feedback of the professional athletes that we work with, who told us time and time and time again to a person, we wish we had this when we were in school. So it's really interesting to me because you and I are where we've always been. We started the education, NIL was announced, so we tailored to specific NIL topics, but we haven't changed since before name, image, and likeness. And so philosophically, we are interested in educating student athletes. And given this seismic shift that is going to happen, regardless of when we know the legislation, we know that education is imperative. And so now that we know that the NCAA council vote has been delayed, we don't know when it's going to be decided. We don't know what that's going to look like. We don't know if, what the government influence on this legislation is going to look like, and we won't know till it's here. And that's exactly what we've been saying for the last year. It doesn't matter what those rules are. We know from experience, both within athletic departments and at the NCAA in the elite symposium and with professional athletes who didn't get this education before, it's needed. And it's needed in such a bigger way now that athletes will be able to be compensated for their name, image, and likeness.
Yeah, that's right. And it just really fits based on what Courtney was saying with her background and experience on Wall Street and working with high net worth individuals, including professional athletes, and my time working as a non-agent sports attorney, that we really could both in our own ways develop curriculum of what we felt was important for student athletes to learn as it comes to name, image, and likeness. And we put it together and we've come up with this curriculum that we like to refer to as DDMC. So DDMC. And the first D is decision making, then due diligence, money, and contracts. So decision making, we already know student athletes are going to have so many decisions that they'll have to make when it comes to name, image, and likeness. As they think about managing their time, they think about relationships, they think about whether they're going to take on opportunities or not, people that they might want to work with or not. A lot of decisions to be made. So they'll need to have a repeatable, systematic process for how they make decisions. Due diligence, we already know that there are going to be so many people who will want to work with your student athletes, who will want to have them be around them and have them do different, opportunities. So how does a student athlete understand the background and understand the work and services offered by those various people who want to work with them, understanding things like their intellectual property and what they might be giving up, understanding the types of opportunities that might present themselves to these student athletes. Then money. And you all have been talking to your student athletes about financial literacy for a number of years, but this takes it up a notch because we know that there will be issues around financial aid that they'll have to think through. There'll be issues around taxes and accounting that they'll have to think about. And also just in thinking about this business that's around them now, when it comes to name, image, and likeness, thinking about how to manage the finances of that business. And if they actually do create a legal entity around themselves, how do they manage the finances of that legal entity, which is obviously so different than personally. And then finally, thinking about contracts and knowing that all of this name, image, and likeness is going to end up revolving around what student athletes agree to do and who they agree to work with. So having a good, solid understanding of the contracts that an advisor might want to provide them to sign, or an agent wants them to sign, or even thinking about the types of contracts or the writings that they might agree to as it relates to the various brands that might want to work with them. Understanding those contracts and understanding what they're giving up and what rights they have is going to be critically important for student athletes to understand.
Absolutely. And I think, to sum it up, Luke, everything you just said represents every area of decisions that a rookie professional athlete has to make. And as I said to Michael Smith in the Sports Business Journal the other day, all of those decisions are now going to face 450,000 student athletes. The rookies have a hard enough time making those decisions. And we're expecting these 17 to 21-year-olds to be able to just jump in and know what to do. And we can't expect that of them, and expect a successful name, image, and likeness compensation era. So I think, looking at some of Mark Emmert's statements over the last couple of days, talking about this year as seminal and chaotic, and acknowledging that athletes are likely frustrated, maybe even angry right now. The best way to calm that, and the best way to move forward in a way that's going to make everybody feel positive and approach this in a responsible way, is to educate. I mean, Luke, you and I have our workshops starting in February, and February is necessary to make sure we get all the information to them prior to that August 1 date. So they're all building their brands. We know that. And we know that from, all of the schools that are out there recruiting, talking about their incredibly amazing brand building tools. If we don't teach them how to analyze contracts and manage their money and pay taxes, those brands will be worthless quickly. And we'll be back in the news for doing more harm than good for student athletes. We have an incredible opportunity here, and we've got to get them educated.
That's right. So with that, we're coming to you as we've created this combined curriculum. If there are questions that you have, that you want to explore what that implementation might look like more at your institution, if you'd like to talk about how we can deliver, this type of education and this kind of curriculum to your student athletes, please do feel free to reach out. Our contact information is at the end of this video, but also through the email that you received, to just reply back. And we'll get back to you as we think about how best to deliver this education that's much needed to these student athletes. As Courtney said, we know that the student athletes are focusing on building their brand. We want to help be a resource to you as you think about how best to protect your student athletes and educate them with that real world practical education that they're going to need when it comes to name, image, and likeness.
Absolutely. And one more thing I'd like to add is, this is not mutually exclusive from any other NIL partners that you may have already established. Any of the branding, social media specialists, our education is both separate and able to be connected to those platforms. So it's, we collaborate with anybody you need us to collaborate with.
Absolutely. So again, thanks for your time and watching this video. But definitely, if you have questions, if you want to discuss this further, please do reach out to us. We're happy to help you as you work to help best protect and prepare your student athletes for what we know is soon to come.
Yes. Thank you.